How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Season 3 of the Pentagon Challenge here on Football Manager 2020. Hope you guys are doing well. We're back for Week 3. Every Monday, I'm going to be uploading a season review of what's happened in the previous season in my bid to win every Champions League in the world. So, today we're going through, as I said, Season 3. If you haven't caught the first two, make sure you go and check those out. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you may have caught those. But we, of course, in the first 2 years, spent our time in China. Let's go and check out where we are now, if we are still with Misao, and if we are still in China. Well, yep, sure enough, we are still with Misao at the moment. We're going to go through a few things first. Let's start off with transfers, because, as you know, first season back in the Chinese Super League, which means big players to come in, perhaps you would have thought. So, foreign player rule is still very similar, very, very strict. So, we had to be careful. Finances were okay, but nothing too big. So, let's go and check it out. First player we bought in was a guy called Peng Ting. And when you see names like that, you think they're going to be crap. They've got such a crazy cool name, they're going to be crap. This guy's actually okay. Played 25 times for us in the Chinese Super League as well. Young, versatile through the middle, and I thought he was a pretty good player. As a defender, he's not too bad. Only 5'9" though, but mentally he's okay. And at the age of 18, and for the price of what's 57k, it was a no-brainer really. Player number 2 was one of our first foreign players, Heberty. And he ended up being probably our marquee player really, coming in on a free 34 years of age, got plenty of experience, but probably one of our biggest wages in the team as well, at £10,000 of wage. You can see he's not really played for anyone huge, but spent a lot of his time in and out of Asia, mainly in Thailand, a little spells in Japan as well, and he's been okay wherever he was really. So as you can see, pretty decent record for us. Obviously, we'll go through where the club finished and stuff shortly, but as in this sort of level for a team that ideally should be battling relegation, great on free kicks, good finishing, fantastic mentally, and still okay physically as well at the age of 34. So he was a good player. Mr. Dong De-hee returned to Misao. We've sort of paid what we sold him for, really. But he came in and he scored 4 goals in 26 for us. But as you can see, the majority of those off the bench. So if you look at his actual goals to game ratio, it wasn't ridiculous. So yeah, really, really happy to have him back. Obviously still young, still a player with lots of potential as well. Dong De-hee. Second foreign player to come in was Alan Santos. This guy is really, really decent, to be fair. Good average rating throughout the season as well. 31 years of age, obviously Brazilian, as you know, and he came in from, is it Fluminense, I think it is, in Brazil, for 475k, played a majority of our games, spent the majority of his career in Brazil, little spells in Mexico and the UAE as well. Tang Miao came in as a free transfer. He was going to be a right back. We really needed to bolster our full back options, but as you can see, didn't really play many games throughout the season. Liu Junshai from Shenzhen, he was a centre back, came in and played a good amount of games. Good centre back, to be fair, pretty solid for this level, and yeah, not horrifically bad. Li Hailong came in from Shandong for 240k. He was another right back, the main right back throughout the season, really. In the areas you needed to be good at, he's okay at. So marking's good, tackling's good, mentally is pretty good as well. Just probably need to add a little bit to that crossing, but still got 6 assists throughout the season for us, so not a bad player by any means. Next player was Lin Chalet, I think it was. He was a youngster. He ended up sitting in the reserves despite having a little bit about him. Liu Peng came in. He was just going to be a backup goalkeeper. You needed a minimum of 3 goalkeepers. He was number 3. He was never ever going to play for us, and as you could tell, he's pretty dire. Pen Xiaodong, who was another youngster, he came in on loan from Shandong, and he's actually pretty good. Can play defensive midfield or central midfield, and as you can see, mentally he's got some really, really strong attributes, determination of 16 as well. So he came in halfway through the season and did okay. I say halfway through the season. For some reason, he came in on the 7th of Feb, which isn't. So, yeah, these guys came in for halfway through the season. Pan Xiaodong came in from Shandong again. He had a pretty good spell in the team and really good attributes as well. Good player and someone that I think we will look to sign next season as well. Zhang Heitao, who is another central midfielder. Again, not too bad as a backup player on loan from China Fortune. And final player was Sun Ji, who is a centre-back who came in from Changchun for 36k and played 10 games. The only player that left was Hong Zhui, who left on loan. But other than that, they were the transfers. So 1.5 million spent in total. We had a budget of about 10 million pounds, but we didn't really need to spend it. We strengthened our depth and added players really in areas we needed to. So how did we get on in the league? That's the big question. Well, look at that. A huge season for us. And it has gone ridiculously well. So, as Misao, we were by far the worst team on paper in the league. We were predicted to finish bottom. As you can see, our board expectation was to avoid relegation. In the end, the teams that went down, Tianjin had players like Ezequiel Palacios, Lucas Toussaint, who else? Pedro Henrique. They had some huge players. They went down. And the other team that went down was this team, Everbright, who had some good players as well. Massive achievement for us to actually stay up. And the fact that we've got the top 4 is unbelievable. So the story of our season so far, we'll go through that. Ended up being the champions of Guangzhou with Pellegrini in charge. They've got some strange players, but you can see why they're so good. They've got some ridiculous money as well. And you can see there, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Dennis Vavro is a great player. Talisca's still there. Morega, Tyus Browning. They've got Elkerson, who's by far the best Chinese player in the national team, who's obviously born in Brazil originally, but attribute-wise, he's fantastic. Getting on a bit now. So, yeah, they enjoyed a good season. In terms of other teams, we had some job offers as well throughout the season. I believe there were job offers from... Firstly, I think lastly was Shanghai. You can see their job is currently unavailable. So we were offered that job at the end of the season. Unbelievable players. Gundogan, Oscar, Arnautovic. We turned that one down. I'm going to explain why. We turned that one down. We turned down, I believe Shandong offered us a job as well. So, no. I tried to go for the Shandong job. I think I would have taken that job. It was definitely Shanghai. We had a job offer from Shanghai Shenhua, who of course got Wilmar Barrios, El Shawari, Zeka, some good players in there. And then there was another one. I've got a feeling it might have been Beijing, but they came up with us. I think it was Tianjin. It was Tianjin. So those were the 3 job offers that we got. The main reasoning for rejecting them, you're probably thinking I'm stupid, but the main reason I was rejected them at the time, it was timing really. So we were currently sat in and around 4th to 6th throughout the majority of the season. Normally between 5th and 6th, as you can see here. Predominantly, 5th and 6th throughout the main part of the season. So when the sackings were coming in, that was sort of the second part of the season. So I believe the first 2 were Tianjin and Shenhua. Tianjin at the time were in and around here. Shenhua were the same. And neither of them were in Champions League. If either of them was still in the Champions League, I would have snapped up the job straight away because there was a chance there and then that I could win the Champions League that season. So that was it. Of course, their squads are stronger than ours, and they've got more money than us. But I thought the chances of me getting Champions League, believe it or not, with Misao was far stronger than those teams. And then obviously we were offered the Shanghai job just after the season. But again, they're bigger than us. They've got better finances, but they are not in the Champions League. So what is the point in me? What is the point in me going to them this season? I'm wasting another season. So I may as well stick with Misao, see how I do, raise my reputation whilst I'm in the Champions League and see what happens. So, in terms of the FA Cup, was a bit of a write-off again. We lost out in the first round. We'll go through that. Knocked out in the 4th round, actually, by Beijing Renhe, who I believe are in the season... they're in the league below us. Right, so senior squad, we're going to go through it. We'll start with the CFA Cup. It was just 1-1 draw, and we lost out on penalties in the end. Miao Ming was the man who missed it out. We started a backup team really, but I thought we'd still have the quality to maybe beat them in normal time. Andre Clovis gave him the lead, and Dong De-hee in the end had to equalise for us. In the Super League, wow, what a start it was. So I looked through the past histories of the teams, and it was about 30 points was the target for us to keep at. And we got off to a great start, unbeaten in our first 3, actually beating the likes of Shandong, who had a strong team, and then beating Everbright. Our first 2 defeats came back-to-back, Beijing and China Fortune. I thought, here we go. But we had a decent run, again, 4 games unbeaten, beating Tianjin, who ended up getting relegated. Jiangsu's got some good players, 3 draws on the trot. Then losing 2-0 to Guangzhou, who was expected, really. But then a really, really strong run, coming just before and just after, obviously, the World Cup break. There was a really big break for the World Cup, but we had a good run in between that. And then we sort of got hit back to reality a little bit. A bit of a patch here. In between these two, where we only picked up two wins. It's 4 defeats in there. So pretty disappointed with that. But a really strong end again towards the end of the season. 2 draws. A couple of wins in the month of September. Most notably Guangzhou. We beat them 3-2, and what a game that was. I think they just secured the title then as well, and they were completely unbeaten, and we ended up beating them on our own patch. Heberty grabbing a goal, Zhang Aoki, who had a great season, and then an own goal as well to wrap it up. We did lose to Henan, and then it put a lot of pressure on the last 3 games. So let me explain the scenario here. As you can see, we beat Beijing 3-0. Our last 2 games was Chongqing and Shanghai. If we look at the league again, the teams here were Shanghai and Chongqing. In the end, there was 2 points. We finished 2 points ahead of Shanghai, 4 points ahead of Chongqing. Now, we had to win both of those games to have any chance of getting the top 4. We beat Chongqing 2-0, Heberty grabbing a brace, and it went to that final game of the season against Shanghai, where we had to win. Basically, the winners would get the top 4. They could have done with a draw, and they would have had it. But if you look at it, obviously we took the lead through Junhai. They equalised, and then a mad ending to the game. We scored 3 goals in the last sort of 3 minutes of normal time. 2 of the goals coming in stoppage time as well. Heberty and Alan Santos wrapping it up, and that meant we got top 4 football, probably for the first time in Misao's history, that we got Champions League football. So huge achievement with just a +5 goal difference as well. In terms of strength, our team is not the strongest in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a huge achievement, and for us to be in the Champions League next season is massive. However, long term, Misao just haven't got the finances to compete. So if jobs do arise this season, especially Jiangsu, who I believe are a good team. Look at some of the players they've got: Gedson Fernandez, Thomas Partey. Obviously Craig Dawson, as you do. That is a strange player. But Beijing as well. Almiron, Vinicius Junior, Mark Bartra, Savic. Like, the quality and difference of those 3 teams compared to us is ridiculous. So if chances arise with these 3 teams, I'm looking at Guangzhou because I would love to manage them, and they just pissed the league and they pissed the Champions League. They've got by far the strongest finances. Obviously you can't take an opportunity like that up, but as you can see, 1 defeat for them all season, and that was from us. Yeah, if chances come with any of those 3 teams, I will take them this season. As I said, the main reason I didn't take the other jobs was because they weren't in the Champions League, and the chances were they weren't going to be in the Champions League again next season. If other chances come from different nations where I'm in a chance of possibly picking up a Champions League quite easily, then we may jump nations, but we're in a decent position. The grass isn't always greener, although Misao are a little club. At the moment, we're doing what we need to do. So, in terms of individuals and players, well, I showed you some of the players. It was a top goal scorer in season for Heberty. Grabbed 14 in all competitions, just under a goal a game, really. If we look, especially in the league, perhaps, it was a very, very decent 168 minutes per goal, which is very, very respectable indeed. In terms of other players, we didn't really receive many goals from other areas, but Zhang Aoki, who had a really, really strong season, the young Chinese winger, 8 goals from him, 6 assists as well. He had a great spell throughout the start of the season. I'll see if I can find it. It was I think it was the first couple of matches, really. He had a really, really strong spell where he scored got 3 assists there against Boyi. I think that was a friendly, actually. And then a goal and 3 assists there as well. And this was the spell here, sort of in between, in the middle of the season there. Really, really strong performance from him. Dongdahi as well grabbed 5 goals, but as I say, he didn't really get much first team football. Most assists, well, a lot of players shared the assists around, but it was mainly the wide players. But Heberty grabbing a number of assists as well. The best average rating throughout the season was Carlos, the man who we've had since the start, really. The defender, 22 years old, the Brazilian, signing for 60k. I've probably turned down a couple of million for him now because he's a really, really solid player. Still only at 22. It's a shame his leadership isn't higher because I would definitely have him as my captain. But he's been an ever-present, really, playing a load of games for us throughout our campaigns. And, yeah, really, really solid player. So, in terms of the manager performance, club vision, it's an A+, of course it is. Disappointed with our defensively solid football, but I suppose in the Super League, with the quality of team we had, that was never, ever going to happen. Signing under 23s for our first team, that's pretty easy, so we've smashed that. And cannot sign Chinese goalkeepers, obviously that is something that we have to do. So avoid relegation, we pass that with ease. Be competitive in the cup, they're actually happy with. And our contract is actually up at the end of the season, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But overall, a very, very solid campaign for us. Well, more than solid, really, hasn't it? Very, very happy with that. Financially, we're okay. The balance of the club is all right. But as I said, and I've shown you the quality of the teams. Compare us and this team here. You know, to other teams with Vinicius Jr. Our highest value player is Alan Santos at 1.3 million. You know, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it goes next season or this coming transfer window. There might be a bit of an overhaul. Deadwood have got to go, and obviously with us being in the Champions League, I'm hoping that we can add some quality throughout the team as well. Heberty's contract's up. So I'm still umming and ahhing what to do with him, whether to keep him or not, because are there better Brazilian players I could bring in? But I'm not sure, because overall he's still a very, very solid player at the age of 34. But guys, let me know if you enjoyed it today. Be sure to hit the like button down below. I know someone suggested we should have possibly played the last couple of games of the season in the last episode. I think I probably should have definitely done it in this episode as well, because it was a great end to the season. So if anything like that ever does arise again, I'll be sure to pick up some sort of highlights or play him on as a live com. Quickly, in terms of team of the year, our goalkeeper got into the subs bench of team of the year. I actually got manager of the year as well, ahead of the likes of Guangzhou, which was Pellegrini. So our goalkeeper, despite, you know, we got goalkeeper of the year, but he didn't get into the team of the year as the goalkeeper, so figure that one out. Not too sure how that worked. And then let's quickly check out any of the others. And that was obviously our record high position for the season as well. So, be sure, guys, as I say, thank you very much for watching. As I say, like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll be back next Monday for Season 4 of our Pentagon Challenge. We're in 2022, so we're going to go heading now into the 2023 season in China, but possibly we could be elsewhere. It all depends, and it'll see what happens. But guys, until then, I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and until next week, goodbye.